to the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast that is always, I mean always, he means always, they mean always, you mean always, she means always, an instant classic.
Danny Dunn! Hi, Jake.
We will see you on the flippity dippity. Oh yeah.
That got me hyped.
I don't know what these moves are that Casey's got going on over there, but I mean, we need more of them. We need more of the moves.
You say white people can't dance.
We
can't, but we try.
We can't. We really can't.
But for everybody listening, please go to the Facebook page or the YouTube channel and watch for this particular moment right here.
Enter at your own risk.
Yes. By the way, tonight this video / podcast is going to be about Owen Hart on the anniversary of his passing and the unfortunate circumstances around it. So we'll kind of dive into our perception of Owen and how he was and his career a little bit as well. And also kind of Casey, did we talk about the Owen Dark Side of the Ring, or did we not? I think we did. Thought we did.
I don't think we did.
I don't know if we did. But anyway, I remember watching it, and there was a lot of things that were in it that I never even realized because that's one of the things, like, for some reason, that was never one of the things that I really dove into like I normally would. For some reason. I don't really know why. But welcome in, everybody, to the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast that is always, and I mean always, instant classic. DJ's over here. Casey's right beside me. Below me is Adam and Justin, as well as we get right into this whole thing. And Adam and Justin look like twin Tazes currently. But anyway, to jump into and Justin doesn't have a hood now, so he can't. But
Justin will be Hook. He'll be, he'll be his. I'll be the son.
I'll be Powerhouse Hobbs.
No, Casey, you're just Cornholio.
I want to shift the discussion over to Adam and Casey, because I didn't, and it's funny because Adam and I talked about this before we went on air, and we were like, we want to just knock it out, but then I was like, I know Casey wants to talk about this. I know how Casey is. He loves him some Owen. If we did this video without him, he's gonna be like, dang on it, I can't believe you did that without me. So I was like, let's just wait until Casey gets off of work. But I'm gonna shift the discussion to you guys for the beginning of everything, and then of course Justin and I, unless Justin has something he wants to say right off the bat. But I know Adam and Casey have plenty to talk about on the whole thing, and I kind of want to talk about what I learned from Dark Side of the Ring after the fact. Of course, after you guys maybe talk about his career and all of that good jazz as well. So Casey, Adam, flip a coin. Whoever goes first goes first. Fight it out. Whoever does the best sharpshooter gets it.
Wait, funny. Both sides of my coin both had heads, so I guess I'll go. So
I had a coin.
Is it magnetized?
No.
No, but yeah, like this, it hit me earlier today too, because I knowing this date, I've obviously watched the Dark Side of the Ring, and we were talking, and I said, getting all four of us, in the same chat. I'm like, we need to talk about Owen, because I mean, had I been part of the show last year, it would have made it so much more impactful, or even the year before when it was the legit 20-year anniversary. But yeah, Owen James Hart, has been the better part of my life for over 20 years. Back when I was flip-flopping in between WCW and WWF at the time, when you're watching the Monday Night Wars, and this is even the good old Raw days where it just had the giant RAW in the background. Owen was one of the one of the stars, tagging with Bulldog and, getting managed by Corny, and having Clarence Mason in the mix. And you could just see whatever minute amount of information that we had about how wrestling is. He was entertaining from word go. He was the perfect quintessential whiny heel. And the more you find out about him, like, oh, and he's the legit shoot brother of Hart, and he's sensational. After I saw a handful of matches, I'm like, this guy's really, really good. For anybody out there, if I could recommend some matches, Brett and Owen WrestleMania 10, which is the photo you just seen. My favorite match of Owen is Brett and Owen SummerSlam 94 in a cage. Great match. There's a fun little backstory of that led into Taker versus Taker, but nonetheless, good heat afterwards. He's just a phenomenal worker. And aside from his character on screen, we didn't get a chance to see the guy behind the scenes who was an habitual ribber and was always a prankster. Like, yes, there it is. That is, you've not seen wrestling until you've seen this match. That match is incredible. It's one of the best cage matches you'll ever see, with one of the best high spot you'll ever see. And I mean, Brett does such a great job protecting Owen in that spot. But anyway, but yeah, none of us got to see how Owen was as a ribber backstage, from, pranking Jim Duggan at a hotel room, pranking his dad, for God's sakes, which I don't know if anybody's, which I'll go into that before we end the show. I may tell a story of how he ribbed his dad disguised as one of the belt makers for WWE. But anyway, it was such a dark day in May 23rd, 1999, at a pay-per-view called Over the Edge. The second and the last time it was ever named that pay-per-view. I mean, it's much like Thing 13. After the Apollo 13, you never see anything, any panel, anything numbered on a spacecraft or anywhere for that matter across the country called 13. But anyway, that was such a dark day. And I was not watching the pay-per-view live because at the time
wasn't the show held from Kansas City?
Kansas City, at the Kemper Arena. And what didn't help, and this is not relevant to the story, but just in terms of the flow of things, this was like the second or third match of the night. So it was already going to be, and we'll dive more into the accident, but the fact that was like the second or third match, and then that happens, killed the flow of the show. Nobody cared at that point. Everybody was still in awe of, like, what the hell is going on here? But in the next night, I heard about it on the news the following morning. I was actually picking up my cousin to go to school. I was in sixth grade, I believe. And
the way
we heard,
by the way, too, the way JR handled it, the situation was incredible and very professional. And even I think he talked about it on Dark Side of the Ring.
Yes, he did.
How hard it was to pull that off, and for him to pull that off in that way and still be, of course, respectful too and professional at the same time is, admirable, to say the least.
The way he handled it, you think that this had happened before, because it came off so naturally. Obviously, he just saw something insanely messed up, like nothing I'd ever seen before. But JR talks about it. He was just riffing. It's like I'm trying to convey what's going on, but I'm still in shock. He did it like a war correspondent of just updating, the fans on what was going on. And it was so heart-wrenching. and if you watch back on the clip, the big tell is Lawler when he sits back down and he is just lifeless, and he's just like, no, it's not good. What the hell? But yeah, the next morning I went and was picking up my cousin, and that was on the TV, and of course our jaws dropped. And then later on that night, they do the tribute show, and Pillman was rough, but nobody really showed any emotion. I'm not saying nobody wasn't feeling emotion up on that stage, but Owens was. They zoomed. The first freaking thing they do is they zoom in on Jeff Jarrett, who was a tag partner, for a long time, and it's just like, okay, this isn't good. And then they show Mark Henry, and he's looking up at the ceiling, and he is just spewing down tears. And they go to Vince and Linda and Shane and all the rest of the locker room. I'm like, oh my Lord. And then that night, really the planting the flag for the night was Austin coming in beers, toasting Owen and putting one beer in the center of the ring. That was just one of the better tribute shows that they've ever done. I still contest that Eddie's still the best, but I'm biased. No, but anyway, I'm done blabbing. Casey, fire away.
Yeah, I don't remember it as vividly as Adam does, and maybe that's because I didn't want to remember it. Adam and I were both like pretty young at the time. Because there was a point where we were young. It was a while ago. But like at that age, you're like, wait a minute, like that really happened? Like that? You think like stuff like that doesn't happen? They're trained. They're professionals. They're over the top. They're larger than life. There's no way. And it's like it happened. And I think the most haunting thing to me, and people have talked about this, supposedly he yelled "move" when he fell. He knew there was nothing that could have been done. He didn't want to hurt anyone else on the way down. That, like, I can't even imagine being in that situation, either falling or seeing someone fall. And I don't want anyone to ever have to be in that situation, but it's like the fact that he thought about in the moment where he probably knew he wasn't going to survive this. He thought to make sure no one else was in the way. Like that's so haunting to me. But I mean, I would, for fans that maybe don't like, because I think everyone's heard of Owen Hart. All wrestling fans have heard of the Hart family and the Hart Dungeon and the Hart Foundation, all this stuff, right? It's sort of legendary in professional wrestling. But I think also, I feel like Owen was, always cast in the shadow of everyone else in, the Hart family. You always thought of Brett first, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. You had British Bulldog, who was part of the family. You had all of these people. And I feel like he was always kind of, not necessarily that fans didn't appreciate him, because they did, obviously. But I think a lot of the younger fans maybe didn't, look into him as much. And I would definitely suggest anybody who is a wrestling fan, whether you want to become a wrestler when when you're older, or you just love professional wrestling, watch Owen Hart, because I've said it. Obviously, technical wise, I think Brett is one of the best in the world. But all around, I would say I would contest that Owen is better as an all-around performer.
Hard to argue. It's hard to argue.
Yeah, he was good on the mic. He was good with whatever, gimmick or storyline you threw at him. He was incredible in the ring. He could keep up with the high flyers. He could keep up with technical guys. He could do whatever you needed him to do, and he did it at a high level. So I definitely, if you haven't before, go and binge watch Owen Hart matches and Owen Hart segments and anything you can find on Owen Hart, because you will not be disappointed. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I would say too, Owen, I think was for anybody that was in the tape trading, and like I was not part of that crowd just because again I was too young at the time. But you look at the backstory of that time frame. Owen really was the first, or at least the closest thing that America or North America would see from the far, from up north in Canada, to see the early versions of Americanized lucha style, because he was doing nobody else was doing at the time.
Yeah,
doing a backflip off the top rope. I always just called the Owen bump, where he would do the rock up on the ropes, drop, bounce, do a backflip, and then do an arm drag. And again, he was an innovator, but at the same time, somebody who was that gifted could chain wrestle and do it with the best of them. And he didn't have the big chiseled physique, but he looked like an athlete. He was an athlete, big. He was played football in high school and all that stuff. So I mean, the elements are there, but yes, like I said, both high profile Brett matches, the matches he had with Brett, the Bulldog in Germany for the first European title, amazing. Even though those Raw tapings were terrible, that was at least the highlight. But yes, Casey hit it on the point. For all around performances, face, heel, tag, what have you, he was the complete package.
Yeah, and I think too, I feel like, and I could be wrong on this when I say this, but I feel like a lot of fans have gotten away from Owen Hart over the years, even since his passing, especially like the younger generation of fans, because WWE in a way has tried to erase him. And it's kind of one of those things where it's hard to say, it was the legal situation of it. It's the fact that it happened under their watch. And there's a level of guilt to it as well, that I think they really don't want to deal with per se. And that's really a reason why there hasn't been as many, documentaries and docuseries on Owen, where maybe you'll see a few more on Brett, especially with the screw job and everything like that. Even the Hart Foundation, you'll hear a little bit more about the Hart Foundation as a whole, as opposed to just Owen, just zeroing in on Owen. I think, Casey, I would agree with you as well when you say that. You said that Owen is kind of the overall package and the whole package of things. He's the better of the two. And I would agree with that because, I think he definitely had the mic skills. He definitely had the arrogant prick heel mic skills about him. Definitely from what I've heard of him. But at the same time, he could get you to love him too, I think, as well. And, in the ring, and you saw it when those two battled, in the ring, when you saw those two go at it, you knew for a fact, like, this is going to be something to watch. And this is going to be something to watch not only one time, not only two times, but just over and over and over again, because it's going to be that good. Like I said, I was younger when Owen passed. What was the year right off?
1999.
Yeah, it was 99, so I was 4 at the time. So I was a little bit younger to actually see it and truly understand what was going on at the time. And I probably didn't watch pay-per-view back then either, because I'm sure my parents weren't ordering pay-per-views for me to watch back then. But still, like, you know, like, I could only imagine how crushed I would be if I'm trying to think, because it's been a while since I watched the Dark Side of the Ring episode. To me, like, when I watched it, I took myself back to it, and it was like I could feel it even watching it then. Like, even watching JR deliver his whole thing afterwards, I could feel it. Like, I could feel the pain of it, the pressure of it. And I think that was a lot of it too. Because I feel like I've looked it up before, the scenario. I mean, I don't even think it's really out there like that, but I've looked up to see, like, even before the Dark Side of the Ring came out, what JR said afterwards, because I had heard it before, but I think I wanted to revisit it, and I was trying to figure out, like, the magnitude of the situation, and I felt it. Even, like I said, just watching Dark Side of the Ring, I could feel the pain of it, the shock of it. Like, I think they even showed, like, some of the crowd and stuff like that just from the show, and I may be wrong. This may be something that I watched way back when, to see, like, the reaction of the crowd. It was just heart-wrenching, for lack of a better term, especially because, like, I think even when it happened, people felt like, okay, this is definitely going to be, like, okay, he's going to be okay. You know, or they felt like he was going to be okay, or it was a work. And then when it turned into the real deal, like, all right, we got to fix this. We got to tell people how bad this is. Then I think for everybody, it became a reality. And like you said, Casey, even seeing Lawler come back and just be defeated. Like, there were things, like I said, in the Dark Side of the Ring that I never even realized how kind of flimsy the hook was, how he was uncertain of getting on the hook in the first place, and not because of the elevation of it, but because of the way it was made. How easy it was for him to free himself. Like the way it was made was just not it just wasn't sturdy. It wasn't made for what they were trying to make it for.
I think it was like 14 pounds of pressure or something like that.
6 pounds of pressure is
Way
all
off.
It took.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just crazy. And then, like, even to hear his family and how, like, I mean, they had to go through a whole big legal battle over this, and that lingers it even longer. The pain of it, to see this is a guy who loved the wrestling business, and then it felt like the wrestling business took everything from him.
Well, also, it's like, as a fan and, like, appreciating everything that Vince has done for the business to, like, make it like what it is today, and let's be honest, my childhood wouldn't have been what it was without Vince McMahon. But at the same time, it's like, you went the fucking cheap way out with someone's life. This wasn't like, oh, we're gonna have a cheaper set, or we're gonna have different lights, lower budget lights or something. This was somebody's life, and you're like, you know what? No, we're gonna go with the cheaper option. What? And then with the legal battle, even part of the Hart family was going against Owen's wife. This is your brother, your brother-in-law, your son, your whatever, and you don't want to help fight for some sort of compensation or something, when they specifically went for the cheaper option and caused his death, because that's really what happened. they caught, like, WWE caused his death. And, you know, a lot of people don't want to be, you know, straight out come and say stuff like that sometimes, but they chose the cheaper option, and that was what caused him to fall to his death. Like, there's no way to sugarcoat it, and it shouldn't be sugarcoated. You know, he should be alive today. He should be here, you know, doing all these, you know, anniversary shows and, you know, conventions and all that stuff. He should be here. And the reason he's not is because they wanted to save a couple bucks on a cheaper harness release. Straight up, that's what it is. You know,
for context, I would like people to realize something. Owen Hart was my age when he died. Same thing with Pillman. Different circumstances. They were in their early to mid 30s. And think about this. Think about this, Casey, and I'll run this towards you. Jericho made a good point, especially in the Dark Side episode. Look who else was coming in the company within a year. Within a year after his death. Eddie, Benoit, Kurt, like who else? But he could have another resurgence with those guys.
Oh yeah,
he was getting marginalized. But can you imagine him against Benoit? Can you imagine him against Eddie? Can you imagine him against Kurt? He would have killed it with Kurt. That would have been entertaining shit.
Yeah,
but and any of them would have been absolute classic.
Yeah.
I mean, part of me wishes, you know, that the screw job didn't happen, and Brett was there too, because all of them could have had match of the night every night. But we won't see that. We never got a chance to see that.
Yeah. Justin,
they wanted to cut corners on costs.
Right. Justin, hop into the discussion here.
Oh shit, Justin's here. I forgot.
I mean, I'm kind of like, well, I was only like a year old when this happened, so I didn't really.
You young boy.
Yeah, I was only just turning a year old which is crazy. So I wish I would have got to see more of Owen Hart and stuff, because he, like you guys have said, you guys touched on all the main points already. But going back, I mean, if you guys have never watched Owen Hart, yeah, go back and watch his stuff, because he is an amazing wrestler. And there's only a few documentaries that really moved me emotionally. The Dark Side of the Ring documentary with Owen Hart and the Chris Benoit documentary. Those two really have different emotions. You feel sad, you feel anger, you just feel so many different ways. And this was one of them right here. I mean, Owen Hart, I mean, it was such a tragedy that what happened to him. And like Casey said, if they would have spent more money, to make a safer, safer harness and stuff, he would still be around to this day. But no, like Casey said, they wanted to be cheap. And cheaper is not better.
Yeah.
Quality over quantity.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, Owen Hart, he's such a great wrestler though. He has a complete package, like he has said.
Adam, did you want to dive into any of the circumstances? Because I know you've looked more into the legal aspect of it as well.
Yes, and I just kind of want to kind of go through a timeline from just before May 23rd, 99. Those sequences of events, what happened that night, and then the legal stuff afterwards. Whatever this to just give a frame of reference. And there's a couple of YouTube mini documentaries. It was fan made, but I have to say this, very, very well done, because this series, I think it's called like Last Days of Owen Hart, or something like that. This is separate from Dark Side of the Ring. There is a gentleman, and I can't remember his name. If I could find it, I may put it in the link to, like, in the comment section to this once this gets posted. But this guy kind of goes like beat for beat, like details that Dark Side of the Ring didn't even go into for time purposes. But regardless, they talked to a guy. Actually talked to one of the original guys that were going to be in the Raptors. They talked to a fan that was, I think, front row, and it just, people got to understand, when Owen fell and he hit the turnbuckle, this fan said it sounded like a speaker falling over, and it reverberated throughout the arena. Yeah, you brought something else up too. People thought this was part of the show when that happened, because everybody was kind of in shock and awe, but they just thought it was part of the show because they were wondering, if this is real, they're gonna stop it, right? And they never got the ceremonial thumbs up like you see in football, because again, nobody knew what the hell was going on. But anyway, but yeah, really, this little series, it's like the riggers, they talked to a few people. You get to hear the firsthand account from Jimmy Corderas, who was the referee in the ring at the time. Folks, Jimmy Corderas was this close of getting hit by Owen Hart when he fell. That close. There could have been two fatal deaths in that spot, because that probably would have taken out Corderas too. But anyway, here's the sequences of events.
Well, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go on. The show continued after this. Just remember that.
Yes.
He fell on the turnbuckle. It amazes me that the ring didn't break. The turnbuckle didn't break. Because we've seen guys just normally hit the ropes. And how?
That corner of the ring did.
It did? Because I didn't think it did.
Yeah, that's the thing. Where he landed, those set of boards right there was a dip. There was a dip in the ring, and they continued the show. Now, to jump ahead a little bit and just to put things in perspective, there was no blueprint. There was no pamphlet. There was no blueprint on how to go about something like this. It had never happened before, especially on national television. So I can't, in hindsight, they should have stopped the show. No ifs, ands, or buts. But ultimately, beyond that, the cops should have taken that choice out of Vince's hands. Like, this is a crime scene. This is a freaking crime scene. We can't let this continue.
Well, yeah. Even with that, like, the ring is broken. So not only did someone just die in your ring, get killed in your ring, you are putting the rest of your roster at risk of serious injury. Like, I've been at shows where the ring is broken or a board, moves or whatever. We will stop the show and fix the ring so that no one, risks getting injured. This is WWE, WWF at the time, whatever. And they,
yeah, and at the time, good.
Again, I get that it had never happened before, but still, that should be a no-brainer. You stop the show. I don't care how much money you lose. You just lost someone's life.
Yeah. Well, now that
You can't replace someone's life with with money. You know what I mean? Like, they should have stopped the show. You think about what just happened stuff rather than think about, oh yeah, we still got this show to run. We still got to make all this money. No.
And that's what Owen's wife felt too. When they tried to, didn't they try to give her some sort of compensation, and she just wasn't really having it.
Well, no, she wanted, and this is when I'll go into the
because all the money in the world won't bring his life back. That won't bring him back.
No. But yeah, and that was the thing. The next match after that, if I'm not mistaken, was, I don't know if it was the mix. I think it was the mixed tag, Val and Nicole Bass versus Jarrett and Deborah. Because it had to have been, when after things get kind of settled down, they go to the back and Jarrett is about to do the promo, and he takes off his glass and says, "Owen, I'm praying for you, buddy." They had to go out and find the dip so they can go back and say, "Guys, watch out for this part of the ring." So not only that, you got two. So two people that are not wrestlers have to be the guinea pigs and find out where the hell this spot is, where he fell. So yeah. But no, and going into the trail events, at this point, Owen is kind of floundering in storylines. They really don't have anything for him. They tried to give him an opportunity for a spicy angle where he's going to have an affair, an on-screen affair with Deborah. Owen's not having it. He says, like, no, I'm not going to make a fool of my wife on national television. What else you got? But Owen's trying to be a company guy. It's like, look, I'll do whatever you want. So Russo throws in the element of, let's have fun with the blue blazer gimmick. It's like, okay, it's not what I want, but you know what? Hey, at least I'm not being a man whore on television. So they put him back into that, and they try to do like the Mr. America thing where, oh, who's this blue blazer guy? Like, it couldn't possibly be Owen Hart. We all know it's Owen Hart, and they're kind of playing with that a little bit. They had done a few times the spot with the harness where he comes down from the rafters, whatever though, but it's the chest, full body chest carabiner ripping. And look, it's hokey, whatever, but it's safe. It is safe. And the point with the blue blazer gimmick at the time was that he was a spoof. It was a comedy bit, all that stuff. Comic relief for the show. So whatever. So they're going into Over the Edge. He's going to have a match for the Intercontinental title against the Godfather. But in between time, they're talking to these riggers, the guys that claim that they are the first set of guys who are the riggers to help Sting. The one guy said, "Okay, I'll do this, but here's our price." And as Casey has alluded, they felt that was too much, and it looked too phony. It looked too phony because the point of that spot at Kemper Arena, the point of that spot was for him to descend, unhook it, and fall down. That was the spot that was going to happen. That was the spot. But as we alluded, Vince wanted to save a few bucks, and they talked to these other guys, which one of the guys said that he was part of that Sting crew. Now, they had already bypassed the old guys because he said, look, here's what it is. If you're going to go with these other guys, I'm not very comfortable with it because they have this other system that I'm not really comfortable with because it doesn't take that much of pressure to unhook them. All right, whatever. He calls back to Vince and say, okay, I'm not really comfortable with this, but our way is safer. And they had already gone with the crew that was up there that night. I don't think they did. I don't even know if they did a test run earlier in the day. I think they did. Actually, no, I take that back. They did not. They took a heavy sandbag, rigged it up, and that was the drop. And again, Owen didn't want to do this. Owen was uncomfortable with it, but you know what? He said, "You know what? I'm a company guy. I don't want to ruffle any feathers, but I'll do it." And you know who else with this angle? Vince Russo. Vince fucking Russo, which is another reason why he has a lot of heat with a lot of fans because of that. Now, no, Vince Russo did not kill Owen Hart, but he sure as hell didn't help the matters. And yes, could have Owen said no? Yes, he could have. But again, the way that company is, you don't want to ruffle any feathers. You don't want to rock the boat. So anyway, it's the day of the show. He's got his marching orders. It's just a regular day. Owen has to put on like a crew member outfit to go through the fence, because where he has to go through the fence to get to the top of the rafters. He has a duffel bag. He has a duffel bag that has the blue blazer out in the bag. He goes up there. They rig him up. He starts to float up above. He's 75 feet in the air. 75 feet from where he was to the ring. There's a couple of recounts. He pulled some type of cord, caused the quick release to open. But here's the problem. Sean Waltman, 123 Kid, X-Pac, he gave a better recount of this I had never heard before on his show. As everybody that knows, or anybody that doesn't know, the Blue Blazer had this big feathered cape on his back. So as he's rigged to this thing, the tassels and the feathers got caught in the clip that was behind him. Owen was trying to get comfortable, snapped that up, and popped, and down he went. And this has never been shown on television. Somebody has, even back then, my buddies say that they showed it on TV. I said, no, they did not. No, they did not. There is a 7 to 10 second delay on the live crew. And in the meantime, as this is happening, they're showing a promo for the match. Literally, the last words we ever saw from Owen Hart was that crappy promo that they were playing on the big screen. Because I always say my prayers and drink my milk. Woo! And they come back, and that's when they're panning to the crowd. And you're seeing Jim Ross giving the recounts of what's going on. So that happens. And the paramedics come out. They take him out. They're giving him chest compressions. Road Dogg, God bless him, Road Dogg has a good account of this. He said he's dead. He's with Billy Gunn, and he says, don't say that, man. He's going to pull through. He said, bro, I've been to war, which is true. Road Dogg was in the Marines. He goes, dude, they don't do chest compressions unless you are dead. Your heart has stopped. So, and if I'm not mistaken, too, when he got into the ambulance, I believe The Rock went with him to the hospital, if I'm not mistaken, because, again, Owen was friends with everybody, and for anybody, I'm not going to retell this part of it because I will start crying. I will just say, go on YouTube, type in Jeff Jarrett remembers the day Owen died. It's like an 18-minute clip. You again, grab your tissues. So that happens. Jim Ross makes the announcement that he had passed. Next morning, that's when Martha is going to give. It was within a couple of days. She's going to have a wrongful death lawsuit. She did not want compensation at all for this. She wanted accountability for who she believes was responsible for her husband's death, and that was WWE. Not intentional, but insanely gross negligence. Martha wanted to have a trial in Kansas City. Vince wanted to have it back in Connecticut, because in Connecticut, you are not allowed to award punitive damages. So, as there's a big theme here, folks, what does it all come down to? Money, 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 money. They settle on $70 million. The next day, they bump her to another million for a total of $18 million. Pretty good chunk of change. But in that started the Owen Hart Foundation. So in his passing, he's still making contributions. They've opened schools and housing for places all over the world. So it was a very good impact thing. But if this would have gone to trial, if this would have stayed in Kansas City, this was fucked. He was screwed because they had no case. They had no case. Now, it would have been, again, it wouldn't have been manslaughter or anything like this. It would have been, again, how do you know what legal term that would be? It was just gross negligence. But yes, in the preparation for all of that and this, that, and the other, Martha is having documents stolen from the Hart family, and they are giving it to Vince's defense team, Jerry McDivitt, who you will see in Dark Side of the Ring this year for the steroid trial, to see that lovely snake that he is. So, but yeah, the Hart family, I don't know why they went to the quote push aspect of this. Because, yes, they figured that Vince McMahon was going to take care of them for the rest of their life. But she just wanted accountability because her husband's dead, never coming back. And they were trying to sabotage her case. Now, God bless her lawyer. She even said, Martha, all of this is coming down to money. Give a number and we'll settle. Because they're just going to keep fighting this and fighting this and fighting this. Being that it's in Stanford, they're going to keep fighting this until you're going to push for a settlement. So again, just not throwing the towel, but just let's be realistic of what they're going to do. So that is the trail of events that happened from just beforehand, the night of the show, and afterwards.
And I think too, from what it sounds like, the charge possibly would have been involuntary manslaughter, because it was an accident. And because it was negligent, would be my thought on that.
Something like that.
but yeah, I've never really heard the account of events as you stated, but I have the Jeff Jarrett
just
thing
real quick though.
on my memory.
The photo that they show in Dark Side of the Ring, the down shot from the Raptors to the ring. That wasn't the full fall. That was from the monitor or the scoreboard in the arena. That was where the Raptors was another 10 feet. So imagine a deeper depth perception for that's how far he fell.
And to be uncomfortable on top of it, like already uncomfortable in various ways, not uncomfortable with the spot of it and uncomfortable with the condition of the harness to begin with. But anybody got any final thoughts? Casey, you got any final thoughts? Justin?
No.
Okay. I think we have said our piece on this one, but definitely it was a good discussion. I'm glad we got a chance to look back on this and the positives and the negatives of it, definitely. But as always, be sure to reference some of those videos that Adam had talked about. I already got some in my memories now while he was talking. I got some in my history for my YouTube or my watch later, whatever you want to call it. I got some in my and I got the tissues over there, so I'll be ready. I'll be ready. I probably have to take a whole day to prepare for it. But as always, though, be sure to give us a like. Leave your comments on what you thought of Owen Hart, the entire situation. Whatever you want to say, be sure to leave it in the comments. As well, be sure to follow us on TikTok, the newly formed TikTok ICW podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
ICW podcast. We put some stuff out there. Adam did just put a new what is that? What is that called? I'm not as familiar with the TikTok vernacular as I am with everything else.
It's a video.
A video. Okay, a video. Is it a stitch? What is it called? What's the thing when you respond to somebody?
Stitch.
A stitch. Okay. I thought it was. I just didn't want to say the wrong thing. I didn't want to say the wrong thing.
Scroll on to the next video.
The next video.
But I don't care how big you are. I'll fight you for some tacos.
But definitely hope you guys enjoy. Coming up tomorrow, we're going to talk about or it could be today by the time you watch this video, who knows. But soon enough, we will be talking about the biography for Booker T, the biography for Shawn Michaels, and the Dark Side of the Ring for the collision in Korea. So that'll be up tomorrow, which is Monday, as well. So definitely hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to listen to us, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. If you want to watch us, Facebook, YouTube, whichever one you want to go on. But other than that, definitely hope you guys enjoyed. For Adam, for Justin, for Casey, for DJ, we'll see you guys on the next video right here on the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast that is always, and I mean always, an instant.